Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of A Book of Spirits and Thieves by Morgan Rhodes. This is the first book in a companion trilogy to the Fallen Kingdom series, and it takes place in the Fallen Kingdom's world about 1,000 years before the Fallen Kingdom story, but it also takes place in modern-day Toronto. The story revolves around three main characters and their point of views. The first character is Crystal, and she goes by Chris, and she and her sister work in a bookshop with her mother that her mother owns, and one day they discover a package that's been sent by their aunt, who is a little bit eccentric and who Chris just really adores. She ends up opening this package and there's a mysterious book in it, and when her younger sister, Becca, touches the book, she kind of gets transported into a different world. Just her spirit, she kind of goes comatose. When Becca's spirit gets pushed back into the Fallen Kingdom's world, she encounters a character named Maddox, and he is a character who kind of has control of some kind over spirits. He's not really sure how his powers work, but he's being kind of dragged around by his guardian, who's kind of a stepfather figure, very abusive, a big huge jerk, and he can kind of control spirits, but he's not really sure how exactly his powers work or anything like that. The third character is also in modern day Toronto, and that is Farrell, and he is a part of a very rich family in Toronto, a very influential family, and his family is a part of a secret society called the Hawk Spear Society. And they are kind of tied into the Fallen Kingdom's world because their leader appears to be from that world and is kind of this godlike figure, but it's very your typical secret society, secrets, rich people, and all of this kind of magical element to them. And all of these characters kind of intertwine throughout the story. The first thing I want to say is I don't believe that you should read this book before reading Fallen Kingdoms. The reason that I enjoyed this book as much as I did is because I already had the backstory of Fallen Kingdoms and really loving the world of Fallen Kingdoms. And since this story is kind of a prequel to Fallen Kingdoms, I felt like there was a lot of Easter eggs and stuff mixed in there for Fallen Kingdoms. But if I wouldn't have had that background and wouldn't have already been attached to the Fallen Kingdoms world, I wouldn't have been really attached to this story. As far as the world building, I really enjoyed different elements of the world building. We kind of get to expand on the world building that already happened in the Fallen Kingdom series for the first 3 books that are already released, and we got to see kind of how Mythica used to be way back years ago at its like kind of origins and some of those things. And I also really enjoyed modern day Toronto. I've never been to Toronto, but I'm sure people who do live in Toronto really enjoyed a lot of the places that are mentioned in there because I'm sure that makes it really immersive. I liked both elements and both kind of worlds within the story. Next, let me talk about our characters. Chris is definitely one of my favorite kinds of female characters. She is spunky, she has a mouth on her, she gets herself into trouble, and I just really enjoy that kind of character. She's also very intelligent, but again, she's one of the characters that kind of doesn't know when to quit, and she's definitely going to get herself in a lot of trouble throughout this series, which I'm personally looking forward to. As far as Maddox, who is the character that's back in the Fallen Kingdoms world, I'm kind of hit or miss with him. I enjoyed elements of him, but I also didn't. He is a very naive kind of character, which I just don't tend to really enjoy in general. But I think that he has the ability to really become a very cool character, and some of the things about his powers and how the world is working in Fallen Kingdom's world right now could be really cool, and I really like kind of where his story is going. Farrell, I'm really conflicted on. He is the residential bad boy in this story, and he is an ass. And there's parts of him that I really enjoy, and there's things that he also did in this that I'm not sure I can sit with, so we will see throughout the series how I'm going to feel about him. All of these characters are definitely going to have a really wonderful character arc, and I'm really looking forward to that. This is definitely just the beginning of their story. I'm interested to see how their stories tie into the rest of the story of Fallen Kingdoms, and how just this particular trilogy is going to progress. I think, like I said, they're complex characters, and there's going to be a lot going on, and I'm very interested to see how everything works out for them, because right now, things are tense. As far as the plot, this followed in the very typical Morgan Rhodes fast-paced, fun adventure plotline. I really enjoyed how she mixes characters and character development with the plot lines. I will say for the majority of the book, I enjoyed the modern day plotline more than the actual Mythica plotline, which I was really surprised about and was certainly not expecting. I was fully expecting to be invested in the Mythica plotline because those are where my Fallen Kingdoms babies are from. But for some reason I was way more attached to the modern day plotline. But I'm interested to see how all these plotlines are going to kind of converge and what's going to happen in the future and everything. It is a very fast-paced book, it's very fun, and like I said, there's a lot of different things that are connected to the Fallen Kingdoms world, so if you've already read those books, which I recommend you do before reading this one, you're really going to enjoy it. So overall, I gave A Book of Spirits and Thieves 4 out of 5 stars. So I'm also going to be doing a spoilery gush discussion video, so if you've already read this book, please go and check that out. I'm going to be talking about all my theories about how it's going to kind of connect to the Fallen Kingdom story and everything else, so definitely go and talk about that with me, because there's a lot of ways that this could possibly connect to the Fallen Kingdom's current running series. So comment down below and let me know if you have read A Book of Spirits and Thieves and what you thought of it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys soon. Bye!